Welcome to the Software People Stories. I'm Shiv.
I'm Chitra,
And I'm Gayatri.
We bring you interesting, untold stories of people.
associated with the creation
Or consumption of software-based solutions.
You'll hear stories of what worked.
and sometimes what didn't,
You will also hear very personal experiences.
and insights that would trigger your thoughts.
And inspire you to do even greater things. Today, we are talking with Thiagarajan Ramakrishnan, machine learning engineer working in Texas, US. We talk about his passion in machine learning and how it all got started. He also talks about how anyone who's getting started in technology can skill themselves, as well as software engineers who can reskill themselves in this exploding arena. We also take a business use case where ML has played a big role in the financial space. Thiagu is a millennial and talks about taking one step at a time and the valuable inputs he continues to receive from seniors within and outside the organization to further his learning and product acumen. Listen on. Hello, Thiagu. Thank you for being a guest in Software People Stories. A warm welcome to you. You are the millennial in our series of guests. So happy to have you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for the invite, Gayatri. It's a pleasure. I'm an active listener of your Software Stories podcast as well. And thanks for having me as one of your guests.
So it is always exciting to talk to the next generation or the previous generation of software technologists. I will be very clear saying that, yeah, you are a few generations away from me. And I'm very interested to hear what got you started in software.
Okay. My first passion towards computers and technology basically started off in early 2000s when my parents got the first PC to our household. I was primarily interested in the gaming part, but my elder sister, she was more inclined towards using the PC for solving some of her academic projects and also doing a bit of programming and problem solving sessions. So that's the time frame when I initially started getting hang of computers and technology as a phase. So I started off primarily gaming it on the PCs I got, but later on with influences my sister had, that's when I started using computers extensively for problem solving and programming. So that's how I got hooked onto the software world.
All right. So you are in TeraData now. What is your role? Can you? Some of us don't even understand many of the nuances of data scientists, data analysts, data engineer. Lots of such roles have been created. So can you show some light on that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So thanks for asking that. I work for TeraData right now. It's a data science company it has a bunch of products. So the product which I'm part of at TeraData is called Vantage. Scope of the platform or the product is irrespective of the kind of data which the user sends to us, to our platform, we would be able to do some pre-processing and have the data stored so that we would be able to run some analytics on top of it and give some insights back to our customers so that they would be able to take some actionable insights on it. So the role for me for building that platform as a software engineer is basically productionalizing the platform, the machine learning platform, because there are a bunch of researches being done on various hidden depths which actually exist while building up the machine learning platform at scale. Because it's not just running some machine learning algorithms on your local machine and then give it to the customers, because how do you expose them? So there are various hidden depths which actually are existing, and there is a research paper which I was working on recently and published it on IEEE Big Data conference as well. But the thing is, there are various problems which involve. So how do you give a better experience to our users so that they are abstracted away from all the back-end infrastructure complexities and all they have is simple APIs which they could use. So obviously there are various other problems which the users have, where they might have their data on premises or on any public cloud providers. So the users shouldn't observe any lag in terms of performance if they have it on one public cloud provider like AWS or another one like Azure. So how do you expect a constant reliable performance on all infrastructures at scale for the product which we do? So that's where I fit in, where I work on architecting some of the components as well as developing and designing stuff. So my role primarily is a machine learning engineer, where I work with folks on the data science community as well as the product management community, so that our visions are all aligned in terms of what we want to do and how it's being consumed, so that we would be having a reliable platform which our users can operate at scale.
Wow, that's so exciting. So you are actually marrying what a product vision needs to do and what the machines can do in terms of auto ML or learning on its own, and the place where customer data is present.
Absolutely.
Tell me more about this paper that you presented. I always thought that in IEEE, more papers get presented from the academia and less from the organizations. Is AI/ML actually changing that completely?
Yeah, I feel absolutely, because it helps organizations to show their stance on the technical side as well, because it's important for companies and academic institutes always to be on top of innovation, because the disruptive innovation is what drives software towards the next generation of products which all our customers would use, right? So definitely there is a trend which I'm observing right now. Even if we consider companies like Google, for instance, they have invested a lot of money on teams like Google AI, for instance, which is being run by Jeff Dean, who's a very active contributor on various allied conferences. Even NIPS is one of the popular machine learning conferences, AI and machine learning conferences, which he presents his ideas. So it's about sharing to the community overall about your innovation, so that they would be able to use your ideas and build on top of it for the better future, right? So it's always about building a better platform for our customers. And this drives innovation not only within an academic institute or within a particular organization, but as a whole to the community. So technology always, what I've seen so far, it grows on as a multiplicative curve, where the output of one technology becomes the input of the next generation of technology. It happens a lot in the community. Yeah.
Wow. It almost sounds like, open sourcing of ideas, right? So that the multiplicative curve that you're talking about, where you give that something as an input and somebody else, something as an output, and somebody else takes that input and grows on top of it and keeps continuing. I think that's a phenomenal way of looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the research work which we had started off while I was with my team, we started off with having a pluggable platform where you can plug in any open source library, so that the user would not have to decide on what machine learning library they want to use, but they can just focus on what problem they want to solve. Because I feel every machine learning libraries have their own pros and cons, I would say. Some of them might serve good on deep learning capabilities, another one on text processing, so on and so forth. So these kinds of details, it would be great to abstract them out. So we started off with using one open source library. TensorFlow was the one where we were trying to operationalize at scale initially. That research had helped us to contribute more on plugging in other machine learning libraries as well, and add various other nuances, so that our platform would be, or it's not only for our platform, but I think it's a use case on any industry standard machine learning platforms, where they are always focusing on our customer needs and our customer insights which they want to derive, rather than on what library they want to use. So it'll just be one thin layer of API which our customers would be exposed to for solving their business problem.
Fantastic, Thiagu. While I'm listening to what you're saying, another thought is running in my mind. It says,
Uh-huh.
I'm actually having a ringside view of a machine learning 101 session to say, okay, the customer problem and what kind of a solutions they can deploy and how the whole industry is moving at a breakneck speed. So
Yeah.
to take a step back, how
Mhm.
did you get started in TeraData? Is it, I know you did a MS in Texas, right? So
Mhm.
what made you move towards this particular area?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. It's been a pleasant journey for me so far. Before going ahead to the data science community, if I take a step back, what I could see is my passion for data science and machine learning started off when I first attended the Coursera session which Andrew NG had offered on machine learning. This was during my late undergrad timings. And my undergrad also was in the information technology field in Chennai. I was studying in the College of Engineering back then. And
Okay.
then I worked in IBM for a couple of years on the data pre-processing team as well. At that time, I got exposed to Andrew Ng's machine learning course, and I was fascinated by the level of impact which machine learning could solve for the customers and for users. And this was the time when Coursera and other massively available open source courses were getting pretty popular.
Okay.
So that was the time when I felt like, okay, it is. I wanted to probably go to the next step and get more exposure to how technology operates on the Western world. So
Okay.
that triggered me to get to the data science community, where I started off by applying for masters on computer science, primarily specializing in the data science and intelligence field here at University of Texas, Dallas.
Okay.
And there I had a huge community and a lot of professors and colleagues who had helped me and mentored me in improving my existing skills on the data science field. And during that tenure at UT Dallas, I was also doing part-time works on the performance laboratory at UT Dallas on the data analytics field, where we were certifying some of the TL9 of some networking bodies, network certification bodies. Later on, I also joined Reliance Geo
Okay. Okay.
for my internship as a full-time, where primarily that was the time frame when Reliance Jio was exploding and offering pretty good deals for our customers. This was
Yeah.
2016, late 2016 time. So that was
Okay.
the time when Pokemon Go was pretty popular, and
I
when
remember.
Jio,
It was big.
and Jio was offering pretty good deals for the consumers. So the data was pretty exploding back then while I was there, and I was doing bunch of analytics using open source tools like H2O, for instance, to understand what are some of applications which are users consume and how is the product being used, what are and some customer churn analytics as well as what I've been doing. So it all helped me build to and it piqued my interest towards the data science field. And later on, when I was looking out at the end of graduation time, Teradata also had also had been working on building this kinds of scalable platform which we talked about before.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so I thought that was the path for me to go forward. So that's how I landed here.
All right. So it sounds like, everything that you have put in place led you to be here.
Yeah,
It's very, very cool.
one step at a time.
Yeah. I keep hearing this one step at a time with all millennials. So how different is it to be a millennial? I'm sure you're interacting with a lot of people from our generation, right? Who have been veterans in this industry. I know that mindset is very different, right? How different, what is the difference that from your perspective that you see?
Yeah, I would definitely feel the next generation of technologists would definitely require a level of emotional intelligence. There was also a book I have read before about emotional intelligence before, where it tells about the emotional intelligence 2.0. I guess it's a book by Gene Greaves. So it
Okay.
talks about it's not about only building up technologies, but why do you want to build it? This kind of visionary stuff is something I feel would definitely be required for millennials like us, from the baby boomers and the next and our previous generation acolytes.
Okay.
And as a millennial, our vision also is finite, like saying, hey, this is a product we want to deliver. You can do your architecturing and developing and stuff on the module which was assigned to you. But there are various other modules which are mentors and our senior leaders would have these visions, right? Where their visions are infinite, where they would be having a holistic view about the vision of the company and the various products which would be present under their umbrella. So what I'm learning from these senior leaders basically is trying to understand why we want to build this product. So I feel that's the key to going up the ladder or having a good transition in the career or where you want to be. Working with my leaders helps me understand, question more about why you want to do this, and then you go about how you want to do this, and so on and so forth. So this kind of, and obviously our previous generation would have definitely traveled the path which we are about to cross right now. So obviously having a helping hand by our seniors definitely helps us in thriving towards where we want to be.
Nice. Very nicely put. You covered emotional intelligence that Dan Goleman had talked about, and as well as the next generation of it. And so speaking about how to you starting with why. I'm sure you are familiar with the Simon Sinek's book on Start with Why. Starting with why is extremely powerful. Very well put. Have you seen read the book Deep Work from Cal Newport? He keeps talking about how millennials are actually having deep working culture creates productivity increase a lot. And he talks about quite a few millennials, and he actually gives very crisp and clear examples about he marries the emotional intelligence part of it to the professional work outcome. So it's just not managing yourself, but also managing work as an outcome of it.
I'll probably add that to my list.
Definitely. You spoke about multiplicative curve, right? Where we learn from others' product and come from there. So twisting the same question to you, based on your life journey and challenges that you look at yourself, right? What are those few things that you want to tell folk who either want to get started in the AI world or who are students who want to get here? Either somebody who is in software professional who want to be part of the AI, or students who are wondering what next?
That's a great question. So always I feel if you want to get into a particular path or a particular field, it would always be good to work or have a community around you who have already made the path, basically having a network of people who had already transitioned to the path. So books and Coursera courses and EDX courses are one way, but I would always feel probably the best way to get started right away is probably attend some local meetups or probably some meetings on the field which you want to get to. There would definitely be some meetups or some support groups which would be available while they're working on these kinds of business problems or the technologies which you feel you want to learn potentially in the future. That way, and that way it would help you at least get started on the process quickly. And I have also been part of few big data science meetups when I was about to get into this machine learning infrastructure business for being better at what I do. So when I had a particular use case or when I had to learn about a particular tool, I just got I had a very basic understanding of the tool, but after I went to the meetup and hooked up with some of the technologists and some of the speakers who are giving presentations on the product I want to learn, it actually helped me increase the pace at which I want to learn that product. The reason is, and they would also recommend you on some of the sites and the links which you want to use if you want to get started quickly. So that way you would be able to accelerate the pace at which you want to get to, and it also gives you a point of contact of whom you want to reach out to in case you want, learn about a particular field. So I feel that would be one of pretty good ways to get started on something you want to do or be.
What you're saying is, apart from getting oneself educated in using various MOOCs available, talking to real life people, understanding the business problems they are solving, and attending those meetups help you create fluency in the language that we're talking about. Then you're one step closer to the customer problem, right? The domain part of it is essential. You will only get so far. Very, very nice. Very nicely put there. So, what are your passions outside of work? We keep hearing about this gig economy, right? Where a lot of people do a lot of things part-time. What do you do outside of work?
Okay, so I have spoke a lot about conferences before, Gayatri. So that is something I do a lot part-time. Apart from this, I also believe in giving something back to the community and also communicating it in a better fashion. While I was UT Dallas as well, I was collaborating with their outreach program to teach programming to some of the high school kids who are on the neighboring communities. So just working with, so it requires a lot of patience to teach high school kids. So it helped me develop some patience as well as improve a bit of my communication skill. But yeah, so this kind of helping our high school kids about learning how to solve problems is one stuff I do. Apart from this, I'm also passionate about chess. I've been playing that for like 15 plus years. So right. I'm part of a club which is present here. There is a chess club, Austin Chess Club or something. I'll go on a weekly basis just to spar with some of the competitive chess players and also help them to understand the nooks and corners of a particular question, so on and so forth. So these are some other activities I do after work.
All right. Chess is also something that amazes me all the time. It's so many strategies that creates it, and also it kind of engages the left brain and right brain in a good, very, very nice way. Perfect.
Yeah.
We spoke about how you got started in TeraData and what changes that members can do when they want to get started in the AI journey. So, are there any specific story that you want to leave our listeners with? Any particular implementation that you had done in the recent times using AI ML that really moved you in terms of giving that purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. I would always believe the stories actually start from the customer point of view if you're going to solve a particular problem. So it's always about empathy for our customers, right? Speaking about empathy for our customers, I was working with one of the banking customers before I was with TeraData. And the banking customers had a particular use case where you have these bunch of check images, right? How do you basically capture pictures of your check image? All the customers want to do is basically they just want to capture the photos of the check images. The banking industry basically had a person at the back end who was basically verifying all the characters you have in the check images, so that once it gets into the system, the values are accurate or not. So there is basically an operational cost which is incurred at the banking industries for verifying these characters which are present in check images. So how do you eliminate that operational expense? So how can you use machine learning and AI to solve that problem? And is there a platform which would be able to handle bunch of images which is being sent to the customers? So that was the problem we were trying to solve while I was at TeraData. And the way how I went about is we built up a scalable machine learning platform with TensorFlow as one of the engines which we can use for using its deep learning capabilities to recognize the actual check image. And also, apart from this, we had to do various pre-processing steps to extract the characters on the check image accurately, right? So that our TensorFlow model can recognize it. So there were a bunch of tools which was in silos. So OpenCV was one of the tools where it was doing the pre-processing stuff. And then we needed some object stores to capture these images. And we need machine learning packages to recognize these extracted images. And then we need to do some auto correction. If you consider Gayatri, for instance, if you consider TRI at the end, the I part, if you join them together, it becomes like an L, right? And there is a lot of chance while you're dealing with handwritten characters, these kinds of issues pop up. You need to address various other of these intricacies at the end to extract them accurately. So Integrating all of these components in silos was a challenge before. So
Okay.
I had went ahead and architectured these components so that you can put them all together in one single place. That team, obviously, so that once we give this particular product to our end users, they don't have to put them all together and in together as a piece. We have them. We just provided them an API which they could use, where they could just simply capture images out of their mobile application, and they could send it to us, and we'll extract them and give it back to the user. So it basically eliminated the operational cost for our banking customers. And the way how we solved it is obviously built up a machine learning infrastructure with TensorFlow as one of the engines, analytic engines, and
Okay.
solved it. Yeah.
I remember some stories where some of the back office teams in India used to do a lot of these things. They used to get an image. They used to do all these processing, reconciliation of it, and all of that. So I almost feel that some of those things, the entire system, this scalable ML system will mimic in some shape or form. Create that intelligence, bring that intelligence well. Great story, Thiagu. Thank you so much, and thanks for being here, providing this lightning machine learning 101 conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Any last thoughts to our listeners, Thiagu?
So I feel I could think of a bunch of stuff, but one key stuff whenever I feel while building up this product is basically timing the market. Why do you want to build the product now? So what are the existing users? So is there really a necessity for you to invest your time and energy for building this particular product for the market? So understanding the product market fit is something I feel is the key while building any software, for instance. So I believe learning about your existing market and what are the competitors you have, and what can you do better than them, if not for your customers. So that I feel is the key while building up any software in the future.
Excellent. I'm actually having a few more follow-up sessions I feel we should do, maybe some days down the line. I would love if you can come back on the platform. Thank you so much for your time, Thiagu, and I hope you have a great day ahead and stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay safe, and thanks for providing this opportunity, Aki. It was my pleasure.
We thank Siddharth for the music and Malavika for promoting the Software People stories.
If you like this episode,
please subscribe on your favorite podcast client
and spread the word in your network.
If you'd like to share your story,
contact us at podcasts@pm-powerconsulting.com.